Going live. Oh, all right. So it's decided to do something tricky this morning. Not sure. It's asking me to reconnect my destination here for some reason.
Hmm.
So not sure what that is and whether we're being broadcast or not. But
Oh, so
okay,
we're
we're good to go, it says. Okay, perfect. Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay. And I had a technical difficulty, something pop up on my screen here that said I wasn't connected properly. So, with that, good morning, Hartwell.
good morning, Chris. Good morning,
Yes,
everyone.
this morning we get to talk about the second awareness center, the Ajna. Yeah, the old good mental part. So maybe start by telling us how does the ajna function as an awareness center?
Well, it is less old than the spleen, which we talked about last week, which is about spontaneity and instinct and survival and body consciousness. Now we're moving in, and it had a frequency that was very much rooted in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to the ajna, we talk about a capacity that developed after the splenic awareness, and it's awareness, mental consciousness that functions across time. So it has a very different frequency. It's not in the moment, it is across all of time.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is that we can be aware of the past, we can have our thoughts and projections onto the future, we can have our experience in this present moment. So it spans a wider range of time, I guess you would say, and
Mm-hmm.
and therefore, that has implications, that are quite wide ranging. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So tell me what the proper function of the mind is, right? Since it's not has a connection to a motor. What's it all about?
Well, it's about communication and it's about research. It's about making sense out of life.
Mm-hmm.
That's its function.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that we're meant to be making decisions upon. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing that has to be said over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us who have had some experience with yoga, meditative paths, spiritual disciplines, it's not a new idea, but it has to be repeated again and again because
People don't get it.
we live in a mind-based society.
Yeah.
Everybody, the not-self mind just rules the root. It rules the world,
Mm-hmm.
and yet on a deeper level, no, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not where our authenticity lies.
Mm-hmm.
So its job is to make sense of things and to communicate things and to research about things, but not to make decisions about things.
So it's like the little man going in the library and getting all the information. And then once you have all the information, it's the other centers that come into play in making the decision. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the great majority of us have inner authority.
Mm-hmm.
Your inner authority is the only thing that will bring you into alignment with your true self
Mm-hmm.
and deliver to you the life that you were designed to live.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it it's just not what we should be paying so much attention to.
So from a mental perspective, then how does fear show up in the ajna? Like what does that look like?
Well, there's a funny expression here, Chris, and maybe I'll just pull up my notes. So if you guys see me, oh, what's he reading? It's like I'm maybe going to look at that. But it's um, every because I really wanted you guys to hear this. Awareness is the end result of successfully dealing with fear.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've doesn't that strike you as a really interesting sentence?
Yeah.
Awareness is the end result of successfully dealing with fear. And so, as one of 3 awareness centers, all the awareness centers have to do, all of them have something to do with different sorts of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, fear, fear about our survival
Mm-hmm.
is related to the spleen. But anxiousness, anxiety, mental anxiety, that kind of worry that goes around and around in our head, that is associated with our mind.
That's that little choo-choo train that you get on, and you make up all kinds of stories, and it probably is not true. It's just all the stories that you keep telling yourself in your head. Is that what you mean?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm defined in the Ajna, so I do that quite often. So I'm
Hmm.
familiar with the little choo-choo train.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting metaphor. Well, defined in the mind or not defined in the mind, we still have to deal with the anxieties
Mm-hmm.
generated there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, think about this. If the ajna works across all of time, then if you decide something, if you lock onto something mentally
Mm-hmm.
as a belief, that can affect your entire life.
Ah, see, you did pick up on me because I was just reading a decision made mentally can have a long shelf life. And then
Yeah,
you just went into it. Um, so it's like once you have that belief, then it stays there, it can stay there for a lifetime and just go over and over and over again and affect how you make your decisions and things in your life. Is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, of course, we only have to examine our own experience to know the truth of that.
Mhm. So, and I guess that's where all of the new stuff is coming from, where they're saying like rewire your brain and the neuroplasticity and learning to go into that mental part and reprogram it, right? So that you can have a different result. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I like that you bring that up because when we study a discipline deeply,
Mhm.
like say you study human design deeply, which I'm doing, a fair
Mhm.
amount of right now, then you look at everything through that paradigm. But it's nice
Mhm.
to say, okay, well, oh, neuroscience is saying this right now. How does that link up with human design? I like those kind of discussions because I believe that the cross pollination of things can help us understand things better.
Oh, and then
Um,
I just had an epiphany. So then you're saying whatever you're doing, whatever you're studying, you tend to look through that lens. So then a person who is studying the Bible and has a biblical background then would probably see things through that filter, like, and judge things and see things that are going on around them, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
And so if you are a person studying more than one thing, I think this is my personal opinion. This is not what human design says. I like to ask questions that arise from one thing and ask them of the other.
Mm-hmm.
See if new if we can weave together an understanding of reality from that. But
Mm-hmm.
what human design provides to this conversation is the idea of deconditioning,
Mm-hmm.
which goes along with this neuroplasticity and the ability to change our thoughts kind of thing.
Right.
If we reconnect with our own designs, our own inner authority, which is the voice of truth inside of us, then we can reasonably hope to release a lot of the conditioning that is not useful to us in an organic way. But it
Mm-hmm.
does take time, it does take some kind of application.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, with the mind and its gates, with the ajna and its gates, we have 6 very distinctive fears,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the channels between the ajna and the head, the uppermost, the uppermost of the centers,
Mm-hmm.
that results in fears of being um, not understanding life, not understanding, how do I think about life? Where's my place in life?
Mm-hmm.
So there can be a a real fear around
Not knowing,
not,
like ignorance. Is that?
yeah, not knowing something, or um, not feeling able to navigate life on a mental level.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the gates that are between the ajna and the throat are more
Mm-hmm.
about fear of being misunderstood by others or not being able to communicate your ideas clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that's a very clear and useful distinction, I think, and it just points out, okay. But it's kind of like the spleen. If you deal with your fears, if you face them, then advancement can happen. Maturity and wisdom can arise from that. Um, so we are not doomed to be anxious. We are not
Right.
doomed to be that way. We can be intelligent about the way that we use our mind if it's defined, and our relationship to it if we're not defined.
Right. So how can we eliminate this anxiety? Can it be eliminated?
It can.
Mm-hmm.
Over time it can. As you learn to listen to your true authority, then you enter into the deconditioning process, and you can become less and less anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so none of us should. This is where I want to underline a point. I might have said this before,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm an astrologer. I am a human design analyst, and these systems can be liberating,
Mm-hmm.
giving us more understanding about ourselves. But we can also fall into a pattern of using them as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fine line, because self awareness is great. But if you then say, oh, I am such and such a way because I have such and such an aspect or such and such a feature in my human design,
Right.
then it can end up feeling like the person is feeling victimized by their own design, or they are locking themselves into an understanding that is not going to serve them.
Right. Or we talk about chart envy when you look at other people's chart and you go, oh, I really want that gate, or oh, I really want that channel. But each of them comes with a set of challenges, right?
Yeah, I mean, chart envy can be a thing, but I'm also talking about um, chart dislike,
Mm-hmm.
saying, I dislike this because I am this way because of this, and I hate
Mm-hmm.
that about me,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people who study these systems do tend to go through.
Mm-hmm.
That can be, I think way back when I might have gone through that too,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But remember, you're perfect. We're
Yeah.
all perfect. And there's a way to function and be in our energy and in our life in a way that is aligned, because God made us and God made us perfect. And it's like um, the things that we struggle with are usually the things that are not self.
Well, and we're not all designed to do the same thing. And I think that's the thing. Like society tries to make everybody the same or normal, or whatever that is, to fit in. But we're all meant to stand out, we're all meant to be unique, and that's where people have issue it seems like, of their light and shining it. So, and
Yeah. And
maybe go ahead.
I just wanted to mention the particular anxieties before
Hmm.
we're done. Just to name them for people, just so, yeah, oh, that's interesting. Like, there are 6 gates. Gate 47, for instance, which points to the top, points to the head, is the fear of futility. The fear of, there's nothing I can do about my life to make it better. About feeling that I can't ever make sense of the confusion.
Hmm.
And gate 4, which points up towards the head as well. This is the gate of formalization, a fear of chaos. I'll never be able to make sense of things. I'll never be able to put it in an order that makes sense. And then we have the gate of ignorance, the fear that we'll never be inspired, or the inspiration won't make a difference to us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the fear of ignorance, fear of futility, fear of ignorance, fear of chaos. And the ones pointing between the throat and the ajna, we've got the fear of darkness. Will anything ever spark me? Will anything ever anxiety about will I ever be able to share and manifest ideas? Will my ideas make any difference? So that's the fear of darkness, or the fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Will I ever be able to communicate myself in a way that people understand and accept, or will they reject me for being weird?
Right.
And the fear of challenge. Will I ever be able to come up with the details that help me understand life?
Mm-hmm.
Will my can I express myself in a way, or will my opinions be challenged by other people, and will I have what I need to back them up, so to speak?
Oh, yeah.
So these are some themes.
Mm-hmm.
So every gate, I mean, this is kind of my purpose right now, is to go through each center, starting with the awareness centers, and for people who haven't got real strong access to human design, talk about these different each of the 64 energies really are a distinct energy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a lot to go into and study for sure. So just before we sign off here, I'm wondering if you can tell everybody about a new, actually, tarot spread that you created, the alchemical relationship spread, and what that's like. And maybe
Oh,
people might be interested in that. So we can just throw something new out there.
okay. Well, yeah. Um, it's fun to, once you learn your tools, then you can start to use them creatively, and an idea for a spread came to me that seems to be very fun. It's a 21 card spread, and it's meant for two people, to do together. They each pick cards that relate to aspects of their relationship. What sparked you when you met me? What drew me to you?
Mm-hmm.
What am I learning from you, and what am I being challenged by you? How am
Yeah.
I being challenged by you? So it's a back and forth conversation between two people,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems to be really bringing out some powerful insights for people.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of people have even used it to explore their relationship with the divine, with God,
Mm-hmm.
and that has
That's
produced some
awesome.
interesting insights too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for joining us. And maybe you can tell everybody what awareness center we're going to look into next week.
Next week we deal with we look at the most recent awareness center to evolve, the solar plexus, center
Mm-hmm.
of spirit consciousness and emotional intelligence, and
Mm-hmm.
whose keynote is nervousness. So
Ah, interesting.
in the spleen we talk about fear, just like that, and we talk about anxiety in the mind. We talk about nervousness in the solar
Mm-hmm.
plexus.
Right on. Well, with that, we're going to sign off. Thank you, Hartwell, for your wonderful insights. And we'll see everybody next Wednesday at 9 a.m. God bless. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.